Hey, hey, said we're supposed to record from the webcam. Hey!
I'll cover that in a third one, I think. Creating a VM is actually really simple. You do need some software for it. I'm going to use VMware Workstation here. VMware has, well, it's pretty much the leader, or has been in the past the leader in this. Microsoft has a similar product. VM has a product called VMware Player, which they usually have a free version for. But if you're in a school, talk to your IT department. They are using virtualization of some sort. I asked for VMware Player to be installed on this new laptop, and they gave me something a lot more robust in VMware Workstation. Uh, Probably because it helps them support the systems that I'll be creating. I use VMs for a lot of things, but I promised you today that I'd show you how to install it. It actually can go fairly quickly. You see that I've got a VM here for Ubuntu. I'm going to make another one. This is Ubuntu 1, but all it is File and New Virtual Machine. And we'll walk through the wizards. I'm going to make a typical machine because it knows what's going on. Now what's really cool about this is these three options. If you have a CD already, maybe you have a Windows CD and you're making a VM of Windows. This would especially be useful if you're in Windows 8 or Windows 7 and you need to use a real version of XP or even DOS. So here's where your actual DVD-ROM drive is. The second option would be to use an ISO that you've downloaded or that you've created, and that's the one we'll use today. Because it's a file, it's much faster than reading an optical. And I could take this same ISO and burn it to CD because that's what it's designed. And then finally, you can tell it that you'll install the operating system later. It makes you a computer with a blank hard disk. That's really good for testing things like booting over the network, because I do that as well. Installer disk file, where are we going to find it? Now with many operating systems it already knows, and you notice it says here Ubuntu 12.04.2 detected. This operating system will install with easy install. It knows a lot of the default parameters that make this work, and it will automatically use those. That way you don't have to do a lot of this. I'm going to call this Ubuntu 2. That's also my username, and I'll just put a password here. Oh, terrific. It won't let me have capital letters. So there are some restrictions, but that's within Ubuntu. And we're going to call the virtual machine Ubuntu 2 because I already have one. And that's a really nice thing. You can do this. You have multiple ones running. How much hard drive space do you use? I usually let it set at the minimum 20 gig. You can always increase this later, which is really nice, but you also don't want it to take up too much space. And then finally, do I store it as a single big 20 gig file, or do I split it into multiple files? And that's one I always use, just because it's the default. I've never found a reason to make it one file. I can customize the hardware, but I like to leave this at the default. The only exception might be that your network adapter is network address translation, so it's actually running through your regular adapter here. You